Hey everybody, we got some great new arrivals in the library this week. Finding Zasha is set in Russia during World War II. In Finding Zasha, 12-year-old Ivan must escape from Leningrad after the Nazi invasion. He travels in dangerously cold temperatures to the mountains, but is captured and is forced to work with a horrible Nazi major as a dog trainer. Ivan is aware that the brutal purpose of these trained bloodhounds is to track down escaping Russians. Working as a spy, he's determined to run with the two puppies, Thor and Zasha, but underestimates the Nazis' cruel determination to retrieve both his prisoner and his dogs. Finding Zasha is suspenseful and harrowing. I have to warn you that there's a cliffhanger ending, but you can find out how the story turns out by following this book up with the sequel, Saving Zasha. The fourth and final installment of James Patterson's Confessions series is here. In it, Tandi Angels' next murder case could be her own. Tandi is losing her mind, or so she thinks. Even as she's forced to fight for the family company, she's imagining new dangers in every shadow and behind every door. And as her detective prowess is called into question and her paranoia builds, she has to face the very real possibility that the stalker she's convinced will take her life could be all in her head, or the very real danger that finally brings her down. The new Wimpy Kid book is here, and oh my God, what is Greg Heffley's mom going to come up with next? She gets the whole town to voluntarily unplug and go electronics free for 48 hours. She says the problem with societies these days is everybody's got their nose in a screen and nobody takes the time to get to know the people who live around them. Poor Greg and Rowley and everybody else have to live like this for 2 days. She even sends Greg to a hardscrabble farm where Greg and his classmates sleep in primitive cabins and do chores. What a nightmare. Find out what happens in Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Old School. Magnus Chase is dead. Literally. To be honest, it's kind of an improvement. He's been living on the streets since his mother was killed. And now, after a confrontation with one seriously creepy dude, 16-year-old Magnus finds himself deceased, spirited away by a Valkyrie to Valhalla with a bunch of people who have died heroic deaths. But even though his father was apparently a Norse god, Magnus still may not really belong. Worse, the apocalypse, Viking style, is looming, and Magnus must find a mysterious magical sword to prevent it. Though leaving Valhalla could spell trouble, he escapes into the Nine Worlds with a handful of weird friends to find that sword before the bad guys do. But the trickster god Loki is pulling strings, and it may not be clear who the bad guys really are. Are you following all this? Me neither, but it sounds like another great read by Rick Riordan. Get your copy of The Sword of Summer today. Well, that's today's media moment. If you saw it or if you liked it, come into the library and tell me about it. See you soon.